Alrighty, hey traders, today we are going to be having a pretty detailed training for you today. What I want to cover in today's session for you is why, when it comes to gold, silver, mining stocks, that it might take some time, but big move is coming. I'm going to share with you the pattern that I'm seeing when it comes to the overall picture, when it comes to the GDX, gold, silver, stuff like that, and why this pattern forms a lot of the times. It even formed in crypto market before we saw the boom, and just some really interesting things that I really want to share with you as well too. Also want to share with you the technical analysis of the S&P 500, what's happening right now when it comes to the S&P 500. But then I really want to share with you the S&P 500 year-end target of where I think we are likely to head up, we are likely to be by the end of this year. And also same for the Nasdaq as well. Now, based off those end of year projections or price targets, what I have, I want to share with you one graph that I've come across recently, which is just phenomenal. And it says to me that the bubble that we've been seeing across in asset prices, I believe there's a lot more to come. And in this one graph, I'm going to share with you exactly what that means in today's session here. Wait till you see that there. Also, I'm going to talk to you, go a bit of a deep dive, technical analysis into Barber. I know a lot of you guys are really interested in Barber for a reason. I'm not sure why you guys really like Barber, but I'm going to give you my technical analysis on it and my thoughts across that. And also, I want to finish off with a bit of a dark story of how I lost 50% of my account in one day. And what actually happened there. So that's what I want to share with you in today. So I've got a jam-packed training for you today. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Hey traders, I'm giving away 100% free access to my brand new breakthrough full trading course. This is 8 videos over 10 hours of pure amazing and powerful strategies. This is my most powerful systems and strategies that I've used for the last 16 years, and I'm giving it away for free. So this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to go to johnsfreegift.com, or there should be a link around here somewhere, a button or in the description or somewhere in there. Click on that and you can go get free access to my brand new breakthrough trading course. So go to johnsfreegift.com right now. Alrighty traders, so let's get straight into the training today. So I want to share with you why I said that it might take some time, but big profits or big moves are coming in the markets. Now look at this here. You'll notice this happens a lot of the time. So if I go back to say Bitcoin here for a minute, Bitcoin or the GPT trust, doesn't matter, right? Look what happens here. The market does this quite a bit. You'll notice that when the markets spend a lot of time just doing nothing, right? Just chopping up and down, up and down, up and down, not really trending up, not really trending down. And then finally, you can see how out of this box, we start to break up. And then we start to trend. Notice how we're in a box, not much going on, breakout. Now we're starting to trend, right? Up and down, and now we're starting to trend down. So looking at that, and you'll notice even gold even did this as well too back back a while ago. So if you take everything off the screen here, look what we have here. So even back with gold, right? Gold did nothing for a long time. There's the box. Really not much going on. In fact, the box is probably a bit lower than that. So we have box through there. Okay, and then what happens is we're just chopping around, not much going on, and then we start to break out and we start to trend. Then we start to see a pretty big move to the upside. Okay, so this is what happened back here last time with gold, and you can see this is what happened with a lot of the mining stocks as well too. Not mining stocks, a lot of the tech stocks as well too. So if you look at Amazon as well, you can see that looking at Amazon, look what Amazon did back here. Okay, so what do we have? We have a box of where it just chops around. And then when we do start to break out, we know that we've had a lot of just sideways movement. This is fuel. This is what I call fuel in the markets. Fuel as in like when it's just going sideways, it's just resting and not much is going on. And then we get the strong breakout, and then we're likely to see a big strong breakout. So it's one of the reasons why I like Amazon right now, because we're going through this box again. So that's the reason why I'm pretty bullish on Amazon as well too. But moving over through this video, if you look at a lot of the techs, a lot of the gold mining stocks, and a lot of the tech stocks, you'll notice that that's what we've been doing pretty much for the last quite some time, right? Look what happened here. We had a big box through here, and now we've just broken out. We've come back down, and now we're just really not doing much. So you can see that we may be in the mix of developing. Actually, let's just go to the daily chart here for a minute. As you can see, we're in the middle of having, as you can see, just one big box through here and not much going on, right? We're chopping up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, as you can see, when this is happening, it's very, very volatile, right? So on the short term, that's why it's always hard. I can do my short-term analysis update, but that's just me guessing. There's no one knows what's going to happen. I can use my technical analysis for a short-term move, but that's just me guessing, right? It's something I wouldn't trade. But long term, as you can see, we're holding here. So if I go back to my weekly chart here for a minute on the, say, gold mining stocks, or even like the GDXJ as an example, you can see, look what's happened even on the GDXJ. All right, so we've had this sort of sideways movement through here. So if we can start to break out, there's the breakout. We did have this box through here, and we broke out, and now we had a bit of a pullback. So once we start to see this, and this may take another 6 months, but once we start to see the mining stocks start to break above its previous highs up here, then we know the trend is now likely to continue to the upside. And that's what I see happening with, even gold as well too, right? Gold, as you can see, as of late anyway, we can see that we're really in sort of just a bit of a box here, right? So you can see, let me just draw a bit of a box here. So you can see it's really just a bit of a box, had a lot of resistance where it is right now, coming back down. It could be a bit of a reversal head and shoulder formation forming here. But as you can see, right, we're in a bit of a box here, not really much going on. And that's where it gets very, very volatile, very, very choppy. We want to start to see this thing, especially if we can start to see this thing rally back up and break above and start to trend, then that'll be the sign for me that, okay, we're now getting out of this mess, which is just really just volatile sideways movement. And we're now likely to be continuing and to start a very nice move. And I have a 3,000 target minimum on gold. And so that's what I'm seeing through there. And that's why I say even on looking on silver as well too. Silver's been definitely been developing a very, very nice box. Look at this beautiful box through here. Really not much going on. We definitely are squeezing up through here as well too when it comes to gold and silver. And so that's why I say that it may take some time, but once we do start to break out, and I don't know when that's going to be, the big move is going to come. And those who are patient within the mining sector, those who are patient, I truly do believe that the big move is coming. Okay, so and a lot of people say, "Oh, John, well, if I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to jump in when it actually starts to move." Unfortunately, that's going to be too late, right? Because you look at like a lot of the markets right now as I'm doing this recording, and it's like, "Oh, I'm going to get into these stocks when they start moving," and before you know it, they're up 20%. So that's what I see there, guys, when it comes to the stock market itself, right? When it comes to silver, gold, when it comes to the mining stocks, it may take some time, but I truly believe big moves are coming just around the corner, especially with silver, and even a lot of the silver mining stocks as well too. You can see here a bit of a box going on right now along with the silver mining stocks. So that's the SILJ, the SIL, same sort of thing. So a lot of boxes are happening right now. Once we do start to break out, then, as I said before, it may take some time, but the big move is coming. So let's actually look at the S&P 500, a bit of a technical analysis on a short-term basis here, guys. And the one thing that you'll notice straight away, let me actually bring up just some moving averages the last sort of 3 to 6 months. One thing you'll notice when it comes to the markets itself is you can see how that we've had this low, we've had this higher low, we've had a higher low, and now look at this here, another higher low, and now we're moving to the upside. So on a technical basis, guys, we can see how that the S&P 500 is definitely in a strong upward trend. We have never been in a downward trend or even threatened to be in a downward trend for a long time. As you can see, we made these lows, and then it ran up. All these small little high lows. We had this high low through here, then a higher low, then a higher low, rallied up, come back down, higher low, rallied up, come back down, higher low. So we've been in an upward trend this whole time. And you know the saying, the trend is your friend until the end. And until we stop making higher lows, don't fight the market, especially in this market right now. Oh my goodness. People calling a crash. I don't know about that. So we can see we've had a very, 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 very big move to the upside. And, you know, moving on now, if I'm actually looking at some sort of short-term sort of trend lines or whatever, let's actually bring up the last sort of 6 months. I can see where there's definitely a lot of maybe a bit of a trend line going through there. Or there's definitely might be something going on through there. So let me just use this point, this low level through here. All right, that level through there. There we go. So I'd use that level through there. And so you can see that would be the support. This is the support. Support, you can see it came down and also tested at this support level as well too. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the proper trend line. So that'll be the trend line I use. You can see here support, support, came down, support, and now we're rallying to the upside. You know, the trend line really doesn't really mean anything, guys. I'm just drawing it there to see where if I can draw a trend line there. But the overall big theme here is this, is that if we take everything off the screen and bring in the last 3 months, the last 3 to 6 months, we can see low, higher low, higher low. Until the market stops doing these highs and lows, these higher lows, the market is continue to be in a very, very strong upward trend. So now let's have a look at the S&P 500 year-end target and also the Nasdaq year-end target where I see this thing. So with everything that's happening right now and everything that's going on right now, I really see that we're in the middle of one of the greatest booms we have ever seen, and one of the greatest moves we've ever seen when it comes to the overall stock market itself. I've never seen in my last 16 years of trading these markets and gone through a few bear markets now in different sectors. I've never seen anything like this when it comes to the amount of fuel and the amount of support that the government's putting behind these markets, even though they're starting to become into a bit of a bubble territory right now when it comes to the S&P. So with all that being said, guys, I believe we're in the midst of one of the greatest moves to the upside. And so with that being said, I have targets on the S&P of 5,000 right there. Now, why 5,000 is because if I draw it from the low, from this point, this low through here, and I draw it up through there, it's roughly, I calculated roughly 20% from 4,200 of 5,000. Now, it's probably going to go a lot higher. It may even go a lot higher than that. But I see, if I'm looking at this from a target basis, I see by the end of this year, which is 6 months away, by the way, that we're likely to see a 5,000 print based on, just based on, I won't go into all the details, but based on looking at, the amount of money that's been printed and all that sort of stuff behind it. So that there, and again, I've even heard some people say that, the market's going to crash and the market's overvalued and all that sort of stuff. I wouldn't be putting anything on that, guys, personally, and just looking at this market. Right now, we're in one of the greatest moves in history, and it's just, those who take advantage of it are going to do really well by the end of this year. That's why I am really heavily long a lot of stocks right now, especially the tech sector, because I definitely see at least a 5,000 print happening this year when it comes to these markets. We're going to continue getting these highs and lows, so we are going to get pullbacks throughout the year, guys. So it's not just going to be straight up. But we are going to continue to get these pullbacks as well. But the trend is just continue to be up, and we're likely to see one of the greatest parabolic moves we've ever seen when it comes to the S&P 500. So I have a 5,000 target on the S&P 500, and moving over through to the Nasdaq, based on this overall sort of triangle pattern here that I've measured, I see that we are likely to hit the 17,000 level on the 17,000 there. That's based on this projection, this level here. So, and again, if I move this from this cursor here and also move it up roughly 20%, I see a 20% move coming towards the end of the year. That's a conservative basis, but I I see, a 17,000 print coming on the Nasdaq, especially when we're now just breaking out of this beautiful, beautiful triangle pattern now on an overall basis, and we have definitely broken out. It hasn't been a false breakout. We've definitely had a big breakout. So now we're in what I call the blast off move of breaking out of the triangle pattern, and so therefore we will get pullbacks, guys. It's not likely to go straight up. No market does, so just keep that in mind. But I definitely do see that we are likely to see, as this Nasdaq continues up, we're likely to see a 17,000 print. So just imagine what a lot of the tech stocks are going to do. Hence the reasons why I've been long tech now for many, many months, and why I see big moves coming, especially in a lot of the major tech sector stocks throughout there. So let me share with you one of the reasons why I see there's likely to be a big move and a big boom coming soon. And that is, let me just share this graph with you here, is I find that, that when we look at these markets, all right, we have two main things that what's the word for it? Two main things that are controlling these markets, right? These overall markets. It's the printing of money and the interest rates. And obviously what's happening with the Fed right now is they're keeping a very, very, very big close eye on the GDP and also unemployment numbers. So let me actually just bring this chart up here for a minute. So if I bring this chart up here, all right. So what we're looking at here right now is the real GDP. And I recently come across this from one of my property mentors. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And you can see here that by looking at this is obviously from the Q4 2019 into 2021 basically. And you can see, look at this here. You can see how United Kingdom, Italy, Eurozone, Germany, France, Mexico, Japan, Canada, even United States, Brazil, South Korea, and us here in Australia, we've just slightly gone back into positive real GDP. India, very, very nice. And China, boom, right? China had like one and then China's off. No wonder China is taking on America right now. So looking at this here right now, this is the real GDP. So this is where, like, even though asset prices like stocks and property markets going nuts, that the government is looking at, or the Fed's looking at two different numbers here, the real GDP, and then also looking at the unemployment numbers. And they are not there to where they're liking. So guess what? There is no sight of easy money ending anytime soon. So what do you think that means? Even though stock markets are all-time new highs and things are going crazy and Nasdaq all-time new highs, Dow Jones about to make an all-time new high as well too. S&P new highs. Things are going crazy. We're supposedly in a bubble, right? Guess what's happening? They're not likely to stop anytime soon. And so what's likely to happen with what we're seeing here is the government's likely to continue to put easy money into the system to keep it afloat. Hence one of the reasons why I see we are in the middle of one of the greatest booms we have ever seen in history. And those who are just looking at this from a mechanistic point of view, low interest rates, government continue to support this with printing of money. And we know they're going to continue to print more money. It's just what they do, right? It's just no insight. Plus also zero interest rates, printing of money, and then also we have a lot of savers that have saved their money, and that's eventually going to start to dwindle down and start to go back into the system and start to pump up profits in companies and also the stock market. And so we are, once again, guys, we are in the middle of one of the greatest booms we have ever seen, and there's no stopping it. And now what's likely to happen is that we are likely to see this graph here tells us that there's a lot more printing of money, and interest rates are likely to stay low for quite some time, especially for at least from now through to the end of the year. That's why that's why I see at least a 20% up move as of doing this recording right now, a 20% up move looking at S&P 500 and the Nasdaq by the end of this year. There's just a tremendous up move coming. And those who are educated are going to make so much money by the end of this year. We're talking like so much money is like going to be made, guys, by the end of this year, just by jumping on this, what we call mechanistic 0% interest rates, keeping a floor under these markets, printing of money, booing the markets. And the government right now, all they're focused on is raw GDP. They're obviously focused on that, but they're also talking about they're also talking about the unemployment numbers. So this is the one graph, this is the one chart that says that that the government is not going to stop doing their printing of money, and we are just going to keep going and going and going until we actually until it now becomes too much. Things just bubbles start to increase all over the place, and then you'll start to see the very first sign of things starting to slow down will be they'll start to tighten. What does that mean? They start to increase interest rates. That's the very first sign you want to watch out for. Now, if they raise interest rates slightly, like quarter base point, we're roughly 1 year from the top if they do that. If you study Ray Dalio stuff, you see this through history, right? They even through 1929 and even in the tech bubble, guess what? They're raising rates 12 months prior to the top. So if they start to raise interest rates quarter base point, now when they do, we're roughly 12 months from the top. Now if they just, oh my goodness, inflation's gone crazy, they're gonna slam it on, they start to raise interest rates real big, then that's when they can put a real big heavy stop in the markets real fast. But from now to then, guess what? We haven't even started raising rates yet. So, and with everything that's happening right now, we're not likely to raise rates for at least another 6 months. That's why I have such high-end targets for the rest of this year. And this one graph says massive stimulus still coming and massive boom in the actual markets itself. So I hope you can see what I'm looking at there. And it's just, oh my goodness, guys, it's coming. So now let's have a look at Baba. All right, let's have a look at Baba here, because I know a lot of you guys like to see Baba and like to see what's going on with Baba and what's happening here with Baba. And I really just want to share this with you of what I'm seeing through here. So the very first thing, guys, that I like to do when looking at any chart is I firstly like to look at it from a weekly chart basis. So from an absolute weekly chart basis, then I like to see sort of 3 years. As you can see, we've got almost 1, 2 and a bit years. So almost probably 3 years worth of data. 3 years worth of data. 3 years of data. Data. I still can't get that right, can I? It's like, which one is it? Data or data? Data. Right? So look at this here. So firstly, that's what I'm going to do here. Let me actually just take everything off the screen here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's any long-term major support lines. So of course I'm going to start off with the bottom here. And I can see how right now we are definitely at a level of long-term support level through here. I can definitely see just by looking at this here, there is definitely a lot of sort of support and resistance around where we are right now. So roughly around this level through here, but I really wouldn't be looking at that. I can definitely see there was a bit of a trend line coming down through here. So looking at sort of the... looking at that level through there, you can see how this big long, if I just draw it down through there, you can see how that there was a bit of a conjunction here, right? We had a big pullback to this trend line, and now we're actually finding a lot of support here, and now we're breaking out. So that's actually a bit of a positive bullish sign. Let's go back to the daily charts now, and let's actually zoom in on the last 3 months, and then now let's actually see what's happening here. So firstly, what I can see looking at Baba is I can see we have this low point through here. We rallied up, come back down, and we created this low point through here. We've got this high point. So now we've also got another higher high, and we're getting a bit of a pullback now. So looking at Baba, and looking at Baba right now, we've got a bit of a what I call space in between here. See how we've got spaces? I like to identify my lows and highs. So low, rallied up, pullback. There's a space in between the lows here. It just creates the significant lows, what I like to see. So there, rallied up, now we've got this space here. So what you would want to see with Baba is, since we've broken out of this we're at this long-term level of support, is what we want to see is we want to see Baba hold here and start to create a very nice higher low, breaking up past these levels. If we can get a breaking past this sort of 230, then we're probably likely to start to see a very nice move back up towards the 300 level. So back up towards this 300 level. Now on a short-term basis, the first target I would see, if we can get that pattern through there, like I just shared with you a minute ago, where it's a higher low breaking past these previous highs. So like right here, in fact, you can actually see how that level through there really was this whole area through here is indeed support, and resistance. So if we can create a higher low through here and hold up and then break past these previous highs, break past 230, then we're probably going to make our way back up to 270. And then with what's happening right now across the markets, I definitely do see, I see this thing probably rolling back up to all-time new highs, especially Barber. Barber's a very, 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 very successful company. So, but on a short-term basis, guys, there's nothing really saying here that this is going to go back up or this is going to be a really good move to the upside. But that'll be the first sign that the buyers are coming back in, because the sellers have been in control this whole time, knocking it down. As you can see, we've had a move down and a rip up, a move down, a rip up, a move down and a rip up, and a move down, and now we're getting just a bit of a rip up as well. So we need to start to see the tune changed when it comes to Barber, and what's going on there when it comes to that. So if we do get this high low here, guys, that'll be the key I'm looking out for. To see that the buyers are here. I'm not in Barber myself. There's no technical reason for that. We still are in this downward move, so it may not be coming to an end. But we want to wait for the market to tell us that it's starting to turn around, start to get this move up through here. If we can get that, then we're likely to start to see a move coming back up to the upside. Alrighty, traders, so I want to finish off today with a bit of a story, and hopefully this story of me losing 50% of my account in one night, hopefully my story here resonates with you and gives you a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel if you are going through a hard time with your trading right now. And so I want to share this story with you because it was one of the most lowest points in my trading career that I ever got to. I just lost $250,000 in the markets. I lost my house. I lost my car. I had to move back with my mother and father-in-law. And I literally I was on the verge of bankruptcy, right? Because I actually borrowed a lot of money from as well too. So a lot of that $250,000 I actually borrowed. And so what happened was, I moved back with my mother and father-in-law. Now, this is going back probably 14 years ago now, when this happened. I've been trading for the markets for 16 years. And the thing that happened is that there was a period of time there where I was trading really well when I first started. Now, was beginner's luck or I don't know. But I'm just like, oh my goodness, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I know I can trade really well. I just know I can. And I just said, I just need to get some more money, right? And so I talked to my father-in-law and I said, I just need to get started somehow. And so he lent me $5,000. So he lent me $5,000 to actually start trading the markets with. And here I am thinking, man, I don't even know how I'm going to pay my bills. My first son is just coming now. My first son's just coming along the way right now. He's, like, how am I even going to afford to actually move me and my wife out? Because it was actually she was my wife at the time, and I'm just thinking, man, here I am. I'm supposed to be the man of the house. We just lost everything. I got a son along the way. I just, oh my goodness, And now, like in 9 months, I've got to figure this shit out, because it's like, I have a wife and now a son along the way who's going to depend on me. And I'm thinking, damn. And so I borrowed $5,000 from my father-in-law, and then I started trading all night. And so all night for me was trading the E-mini S&P 500 on real short-term charts. 1 minute charts, 5 minute charts, and even all the way down to tick charts. If you've ever traded tick charts before, guys, what they call transaction charts. So it's not based on time. A 1 minute chart, every single bar is painted based on a bar, but a transaction chart. So I was always trading roughly, I think it was a 49 transaction chart. Don't know why 49, but it was just 49. So that means every time 49 transactions went through, so one transaction could be 100 contracts, next transaction could be 2 contracts. But as long as there was 49 transactions gone through, that would paint the bar, and then the next bar would start. Imagine those charts, guys, with like FOMC, right? Those charts just go nuts because there's like 2,000 there's like 2,000 transactions go boom, 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 like really quickly, and suddenly you see just a massive pain of bars. It's quite a sight to see. So anyway, I started trading all night again, and I just went back to what I knew and started trading, and I was just like, man, I've got to make this work. And that was a big mistake, right? It's like, I've got to start making money now. Oh my goodness. I have a son along the way, and my wife depends on me. Oh my goodness, I've got to pay that money back. Some of that money back that I actually, or pay the money back that I actually borrowed. And because I was putting so much pressure on myself, guess what? I started just taking anything I just thought that was going to be a good trade. It's like, oh, this looks like it's a good trade, and then, which is a big mistake, right? It's just looking back now, it was one of the worst mistakes I did, because I'm just like, I've got to get in, and by me rushing it and forcing it, and just like, oh well, this looks like it's going to go up, I've got to get in now. And then I started rationing and reasoning of what, like, oh well, even if I just risk, $100 out of this, that's okay. If I just risk $100, and then the $100 turns into a $200 or $300 loss, and then I try to like, well, if I can just get back to break even, and then I have another loss, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, and like, then suddenly I doubled up on my risk. I'm like, oh my goodness, now I'm actually $1,000 in the hole out of my $5,000 trading account. Man, if I can just get back to break even, if I double up and I just get if I can just get a small profit at this one, I'm going to be back to break even. And then that'll be a losing trade as well too. Meanwhile, I wasn't focusing on any system or any plan. I was just getting in because it just looked like a good idea. And I was all over the place. And I remember, because I stayed up all night trading the futures markets, E-mini, S&P, and even like, I think that even like the European markets and stuff like that as well too, Nasdaq, those sort of things. And I remember the sun come up, and I'd been up all night trading the markets. And again, guys, this is when I first started. I had no idea what I was doing, and I remember looking at my account thinking, oh my goodness, I just blew 50% of my account up. And I actually went to bed just in tears. And my ex-wife's like, oh yeah, she's my ex-wife now, but my wife at the time, she was just like, what happened? I'm just like, oh, nothing, it's okay. And she's like, talk to me. And I'm just like, I just blew up 50% of my account. And she's like, okay. And she's like, she's like, you can do it, you can do it though. And I'm like, okay, well, I appreciate your support there. But I remember her getting up to go into work. I think she was working like at Red Rooster or something like that, for a managing job. And I remember just going to bed that morning and just absolutely just in tears and thinking, I really, really, really need to get this thing going. I really need to get this thing working. And I was just like, because all I was seeing was a failed husband. Am I going to be a failed father as well, since my son's coming on the way? And then I look at my wife at the time, and we're in a spare bedroom on an old mattress on the floor. That's what we slept in. We actually slept in an old mattress on the floor. There wasn't even a bed for us. It was like, there's a mattress, you can stay there. It was like, oh my goodness, I got to really, 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 really figure this thing out. I'm just like, I want this so bad. And I've gone from losing all this money, $250,000 in hole, to then just borrowing money and blowing up 50% of the account. I'm thinking, I gotta figure this thing out. And that's when, unfortunately, that's at the time I thought, you know what, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I just can't do this. And so it was at that time, guys, that I was very fortunate that I got access to via my broker. He said, listen, there's this guy, he's a private trader. He's a really, really good trader, makes millions of dollars a year. I'll give you his email. You should him an email and see if he can help you out. And that was actually the turning point for me, because I showed him the email, and then we went backwards and forwards. He didn't respond to me the first time, but I kept sort of pestering him, and then something he started helping me out with what I was doing, and focusing on what he was done, because he blew up his account as well too. He lost, he lost $500,000, which is pretty much all he had in one night trading the markets. So he was just like, John, you lost $250,000. Okay, cool. You know what? I did that as well too. But here I am now, and I'm making between $5 and $10 million a year. He said, so you can come back from this. He said, let me just show you what you need to do. And, and obviously the big thing that I was doing was that I was all over the place. There was no rhyme or reasons of why I was getting into something, or no proven plan behind me. Because he said, John, he said, if you've got a really good trading system with a good win-loss ratio, but you stick to it 100% of the time, you could take a $5,000 trading account and grow that. He said, but you could take $1 million trading account and you'd just be all over the place like a lunatic, and just taking anything and everything, not because it meets a plan or meets a system, but you'll blow that up. He said, I've done that before. He said, so welcome to the club. If you really want this is now your test. How bad do you want this? And he said, if you really want this, then I can start to help you get back on track, but it's going to take you some time. And so basically what he did, he started sharing me the way that he views the market, the way he trades the market. And what I realized is that he was no smarter than me. And what I realized was that the only difference between him and I is that he was very disciplined at following a plan, and he wouldn't do anything. He'd be happy sitting there for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and not do anything until a trade came up. Here I was thinking I needed to make money every week because I had rent to pay. It was the wrong thing to do. That's not how trading works. If I want to be part of this world called trading, I must understand the laws of trading, and that means that simply says you don't trade when you want. You trade when you trade when everything's when the plans are met. So that means if your plan, a pattern that you're trading doesn't appear for 4 weeks or 5 weeks or even 2 months, then you simply don't trade. That's your job is to wait until you have to. Discipline, consistency, and patience, or consistency, discipline, and patience. The patience being the big one. And he said, John, they're the things you need to work on. He said, it's not the market that's getting you, it's you that's getting you. He said, but if you really want to be part of this world called the markets, then you must start to focus on those consistency. He said, well, you got the consistency part, right? You're showing up every day, which is good. He said, but more the discipline and patience part. Discipline to just focusing on just one pattern, one system that you believe in. And then patience, just your job is not to do anything until you see that pattern. I don't care how long you have to wait. Your job is not to do anything. And it was hard changing that, right? Because I went from just trading all over the place to then just trading, to then start trading, not trading, not taking any trades. And some weeks there'll be no trades, and some weeks there'll be heaps of trades, 2 or 3 trades. And then some weeks I might have a trade every single day, and then I might go 2 weeks without a trade. And this was even trading intraday charts, 1 minute charts, 5 minute charts, 15 minute charts, right? Watching them, spending 10, 12 hours a day trading it. But once I started to realize that, oh my goodness, this plan I'm trading works most of the time, and it's got nothing to do with the trading system, right? It's got everything to do with how well I'm actually sticking to it. And that's the biggest thing that I had learned, that people that do well out of trading, it's not because they're smart, they've just got the emotional control. They're not doing anything and understand the game of trading. And that is that my job is to wait. I'm actually paid to wait. I wait until I get that really good setup. And if I can do that throughout this year, not only am I going to crush it, but I'm going to do it so well out of it. And that's how my mentor went from like blowing up $500,000 in one night, wiping himself out, to now making that per month plus, right? $500,000 to $1 million per month, easy. Per month. But that's taken him roughly, from the time he did that, he's been trading for 25 years. The time he did that, it's taken him roughly 15 years to get to from a $5,000 trading account to now making that much. But it's taken time, but because he stuck at it, and because he stuck at the system, that's when things started well. And that's when everything started to turn around for me, and I started to do really, really, really well from trading, because I realized that, okay, if I want to do this thing called trading, I must start to abide by the laws. If I want to become good at this thing, right? If I want to become this thing called trading, I have to start to be a good trader. And if I'm not a good trader, I may get lucky every now and then to make money, but I'm not going to be long-term successful. And that's what my mentor always said to me. And I always say to my private clients, I don't care if you make $1 million in one trade. All I care about is what can you do, what can you do repeatedly for the rest of your life, so you can feed your family and never have to worry about money again. That's what I'm all about. And that's words from my mentor. I don't care what you can do right now, John. You know, you break the rules and you make a lot of money, then that's actually not good. All I care about is what can you do for the rest of your life so you can never have to worry about money ever again. And that's when it started to click for me. You know, and then I went from like, you know, not only losing money, but I'm making money. And then before you know it, like that story about when I was with my mother and father-in-law, 9 months later, I actually paid all my mother and father-in-law back for all the rent that I actually owed them. We moved out, and things started picking up from there. And I went, you know, and then I started doing like 30 within a few years of doing that. After starting there, I started doing like 30,000 a month, and then went to like 80,000 in a few months there, and over 100 grand, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? $1 million, whatever. But it all started. But then that what I just said there, guys, was many years ahead, right? Many years timeline from starting to then growing and growing and growing. And the big thing is that, and that's where I am right now, is that as long as I just wait for my pattern and the system that I trade, that I know that most of the time I'm going to make a profit, and sometimes I'm going to make a loss, and that's just the way it is. But most of the time I'm going to make a profit, and when that happens, I know that I know by the end of this year I'm going to be up. But I do know that I have two choices here. One, I can start to be consistent amongst the system that I'm trading. Any system out there, it's not the system. It's more me being consistent in that system. Or I don't. If I don't, I may be okay. I may make money every now and then. But long term, I'm not going to continue losing money. Because I just lost $250,000 from doing that shit. Then I lost 50% of my trading account from doing that. And then as things started to pick up and I had my mentor there, things started to turn around. And so I hope this story really helps you out, guys. If you are in the midst of going through a tough time, that there is light in the tunnel. But it does come back down to, like, if you want to be part of this world called trading, we must understand what goes into a trader. And all it comes down to is find something in the markets, a pattern. If you're a trader, find a pattern that you believe in, and then wait for that only. And then when you do take the trades, some of them are going to be losses. Most will be profits, or depending on your system anyway. And then rinse, recycle, repeat. And if you take 20 of those trades, you might have 4 losses, 16 wins, and at the end of the day, you make money. And if you can do that, just find one thing that you believe in and wait for that, then you can start to really, really, really kick ass and take names. And that's when everything started to turn around for me, guys, because I don't trade a lot. I'm not a very active trader. I don't trade a lot because I just wait for my system. Sometimes I don't trade for a whole month. That's okay. Guess what? Because if I do trade, I'm not going to be losing money. And then when the good trades do come up, guess what? I'm taking them and things are doing really, really well. So I really hope this helps you out today, guys. If you are going through a hard time, I hope this story really resonates with you. And I hope this gives you a bit of confidence that if you are going through a hard time, that you can do it. We just need to start to abide by the rules. And that is, find something that you're consistent at. You can do really, really, really well at trading. You just got to find something. There is no perfect system that's going to make you money every time. But if we understand the laws of being a good trader, that is, find a pattern that you believe in that has a good win-loss ratio and wait for that only. Every time you take it, you know, some are going to be losses, most are going to be profits. If you can do that for the whole year, that's how trading is really done, and that's how you can do really, really well from trading. Hey traders, I'm giving away 100% free access to my brand new Breakthrough full trading course. This is 8 videos over 10 hours of pure amazing and powerful strategies. This is my most powerful systems and strategies that I've used for the last 16 years, and I'm giving it away for free. So this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to go to johnsfreegift.com, or there should be a link around here somewhere, a button or in the description or somewhere in there. Click on that and you can go get free access to my brand new Breakthrough trading course. So go to johnsfreegift.com right now. Go to that right now, guys. You can get full, complete, free membership access. Go do that right now.